I'm Miriam Joy and welcome to my studio. Today we're doing another one of our kids classes, and this is a little bit more complicated one, and we do recommend that the kids are 8 and older and that they have adult supervision at all times. Today we're kind of doing a peace sign with some little flowers. We do try to keep these low priced for you so that we all can afford to do them, and try to keep them fun as well. So today I'm going to be using a little peace sign, and I found this in Michael's in the front of the store in their dollar section. And I'm also going to be using some paper raffia, and it's always real inexpensive. I got this little 4-pack for $1, so it makes it real reasonable. Of course, the wax that we're working with is our Crayola crayons that I have in the melting pots and the tools. If you're not familiar with the process, go to YouTube or to my page, my website at miriamjoy.com, the YouTube link, and look for the basics of the wax technique. It kind of walks you through the process so that you're a little bit comfortable with it before you begin. Today I'm going to be using the #1 tool here, and on this one I added some alcohol inks to it and just let them run down. You could do any type of color if you wanted more than just the base color. You could use acrylic paints or whatever paint you have available to just kind of make it spotty and kind of tie-dye looking if you wanted to. So I'm not going to do that with this one. I'm going to keep this one real basic. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to walk around this, and the color of pink that I am using today is carnation pink, and that is in the 24 box. So know that you can find that there. And all I am doing is 1 stroke down and 1 stroke up, 1 stroke down and 1 stroke up. And you can either stop at the edge or you can fall off the edge. It doesn't matter. Either way is fine. So we're going to continue to walk this around. And just while we're taking this around and you're kind of waiting for me to do that, we are going to be having a kids contest this summer, and it can be anything that you've done with the Crayola crayon wax design technique. So we'll give you a little bit more on that, or check on my page and we'll have more information as we figure all that out. But we want to see what you're doing with all of these fun videos, and we'll keep it going for the summer. And if you'll post your pictures on my Facebook page or send them to me at art@miriamjoy.com, and we'll get those entered for you, and we're going to figure out a great fun prize for you. So we're just doing those like we talked about, up and down, and I'm doing them all the way till we get to this flat surface that it sits on, and we don't want to do it on the part where it sits on because we want to keep it level. Now I have this one over here sitting on a rock. You don't have to sit it on a rock. You can sit flat on the table as well, or you could put it on a slab of wood. So this part right here we're not going to do. Now I've used up quite a bit of my crayon, and I would recommend that you go ahead and put more crayon in there at this point in time. And what I'm going to do is, this is a little bit tougher, but I want to do in and out, and I'm just going to do this on the outside of the piece design. If you were real ambitious, you could do it all of the areas. I think it would be a little bit tougher to get into those little areas right there. So, and you can see it's a little bit harder in this area because I'm trying to find something to rest my hand on. We're bringing those back and forth. Okay, now I'm going to go do the other side. The hardest part of these little signs is getting all of the tags off of them. Sometimes goop will remove them, and also if you wet them or sometimes even heat them up with your heat tool, it helps take those little tags off. Those tags can be kind of a royal pain. Now on the one I have done as a sample, I do have the peace sign painted on the front and the back, and I'll show you the different designs I have there. On the front I do have with just the dots, and I think that's how I'm going to do that one, and then I also have it with the strokes. So know that you can do it different ways. You don't have to get stuck doing it in just one style. And we're using a little bit more wax, and I had only put enough in my pot for one, so I'm going to finish up the rest of my crayon here, and this is the color we're using, the Carnation Pink, and I'm going to load that back up. So we're going to fill that up again, and I'm going to switch over to my number 2 tool for my dots, and I'm going to do dots, and I am just going to, I'm going to start up at the top and just walk down. And when you're doing dots, especially big dots, don't go too fast, because if you go too fast you start to get more of these flecks, and you can see they're little tiny bits of paint from the wax that kind of just occur when you're making a dot. The slower you go, the fewer of those you get. If you like them, that's fine. So I'm going to just take that all the way down, and then we're going to do the dot. And you could just do the sign in the middle. You could do a different color, a dot around of the edge. In fact, I think that's what I'll do. I think I'll put the green around the edge. Don't get stuck just using one color. And don't think that because I did it that way, it means you have to do it that way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this one. You do that with your hobby knife. Don't have it straight up and down because you don't want to scratch the paint that's already there. And then I'm going to remove that one, and we're going to do green. This is a yellow green. The only reason I'm stirring it is because it has sat there for a while, and that is Crayola crayon. We are not using paint, and we're going to put this around the rest of this design now. And it had been kind of cute to use a purple in this too. We could have done the purple in the inside of it as well. Now, if you're doing it at home, I would do both sides so that you can look at it from either side. And then after you get the wax done, I would put a nice coat of spray varnish over it. Remember not to leave it out in the sun because it is wax, so you don't want it to melt. And we're just going to finish with that all the way around here. I do like the dots better than the stroke for this design. At least that's what I prefer. But like I said, don't get stuck just doing my designs. Use your own imagination. Kids have wonderful imaginations. Don't get told you can't do a certain thing or a certain way. Always try it. I wouldn't be here unless I tried things. So that's real important to me. Okay, so we've got all of that done now. And what we're going to do now is we're going to make the little flower that we're going to attach to that. And I'm going to set that guy over there. Move this a little bit. and we're going to work on our flower. Now what I do is I take the paper twist and I cut them the lengths that I want my flower all the way across, so they come in a length like that. So we're going to unwrap these. I'm going to unwrap that. And we are going to bend it in half because we're going to cut our petals. And we're going to do 2 petals at one time because this is across from the other thing. So we're going to pull it and cut it out. And then what I do is I take it and I twist it twice. So it has a tendency to curve, and you want it to curve so the curve is down and the leaf is coming up. Now make sure that you spread all those out, because if you don't, you're going to get these little spiky things on your petals here, which I didn't have it quite pulled all the way out. So let's get rid of those. And then we're going to start gluing them on one at a time. So I'm going to move my tray out of the way a little bit here. And we're going to work on this. So there is one set. So now we're going to take it and we're going to, and I'm using my hot glue gun. You could have it on a low temp setting. Make sure you have an adult working with you. And in fact, I do want to set that on a low temp setting, so if I touch it with my fingers, then it is not too hot. And see how we've got all of those coming up, and we're actually going to do 4 leaf section, which makes a total of 8 for the flower. So I put the 2 across the 2, and then I'm putting them just right down the middle again. And so we have that right like that. And you wanted to cut them all the same length. When I cut my strands, I cut them all at the same time and made them all the same size. Now I made 2 of these so I could set them kind of flower within flower, just to kind of give it more texture, make it a little bit fuller. So we're going to glue these 2 together now. Okay, and then we're going to make the center, and the center we're going to do the same way, only we cut smaller sections of our yellow. Just make it smaller. It doesn't have to be yellow. It can be whatever color you want it to be. Pull that paper all the way out this time so we don't get those little spiky edges. Fold those leaves over, the ends over, to make the leaves. We're going to come in here. We're going to make their edges. And we're going to twist it in the middle 2 times. So that is, both edges are sticking up. So you want them, however my twist right there, so that they're both sticking up like that. And we're going to do the same thing with that, 4 sections to make 8 petals. And I'm going to put that in the center of my flower. And I am also going to pick a bead, and these are just beads from craft store or in your supply, just one that accents your flower. It can be any color you want. We're going to glue that in the middle. The reason we can glue the bead is because we're gluing it onto a surface that is porous. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to hot glue that on. Now we're just going to glue the little flower inside the big flower. Now, I have a little section right here that isn't quite as full as I want to, so that's where I'm going to add the green leaves, and the leaves were cut just the way the petals were, only we just did one, we didn't do two sections. And I'm just gluing those on, and I don't want those too long in the back. I'm going to cut it at the middle, and then I am going to do another one right beside that. And we have your flower for your little peace sign. Now when you're gluing this on, you want to glue it so that your flower and your peace sign will stand up. Now remember, where you put the hot glue will melt the Crayola, so you want to make sure that you're not doing too much of that. You want that directly over that. So I'm going to put that right there. And I am going to set that where it's standing up. Make sure my flower is nice and standing up. You don't want your flower so far down that it doesn't look good, but you don't want it over too much to take over your design of your peace symbol. And like we talked about earlier, you could place this on a slab of wood or a rock if you wanted to make it a little bit more sturdier, or you could glue it onto other items as well. So any of those things that you would like to just kind of brighten up or add some life to, this is really a big thing right now, so people love them. College kids, teenagers, they're fun gifts for them. So there's a lot of fun possibilities with this. If you have any questions, please email me at art@miriamjoy.com, or if any of the products will be available on my webpage at miriamjoy.com. There's that YouTube link that we talked about where you can go see more fun classes, and also there's a Facebook link where you can jump over for the contest and different gourds that I try to put up, or projects done with the wax. We try to post something new every day. So I hope you have a great time with us today and have a great summer. God bless.